Good afternoon, knife nerds. Today we are going to take a look at something completely different from my usual genre. So, I've got here on the table a couple of really rad balisongs. I am not a balisong guy. I'm not a flipper. I'm a knife nerd. So, the reason that I have these is because I actually acquired these at really amazing prices, and I am going to flip them for a little bit of profit. But it doesn't mean that I don't love these knives and that I'm not super impressed by them, because I really am. So this one here is called the OSP Matrix, and we can see right away it's got tie connector hardware and just this beautiful kind of radial milling pattern on it. And so I wanted to kind of show these off because, you know, as a knife nerd, I really appreciate the knife making side of knives. And that's really what I'm in this hobby for, is because I love the precision machine work that goes into making high-end knives. Now, I'm not a flipper, so I can barely open these things, but take a look at this glorious blade here. This is the sickest tanto grind, dude. It's so epic looking. And their logo is just badass. And just, wow. I don't know why, but this blade shape is just, it's super impressive to me. That really abrupt, blunt tanto tip, it's just glorious. And we've got this sick milling pattern here that's just, this is something you would see on a very, very high-end frame lock flipper. And so I dig the milling work here. The cutouts in this are shaped pretty epically, and man, overall just an epic knife. So that is the OSP Matrix, and I gather these are very popular in the balisong community, and they go for a pretty penny. But what we have here is something just completely out of the ballpark, just on the other side of the fence from that. This is an even higher end knife. This is called the ELB Pro Flipper, and this blade grind, oh my god, and the mirror finishing on this thing, it's like they took a satin grind and then they mirror polished the satin, but somehow left the lines. So it's just, I don't know, I've never really seen a blade finish exactly like this. Usually if you go mirror, you go mirror. If you go satin, you go satin. But this kind of combines both different blade finishes, and this freaking swedge with this really insane compound ground tanto and the hollow grind behind this thing. It's just insanely slicey behind the edge there. And if we can get this to focus, because the mirror reflection is throwing the camera off, there is their ELB logo, and it is riding on IKBS bearings. So that is, the IKBS is the cageless system. So the balls are just in here in a race that is milled into the titanium and milled into the blade, and they are free-floating bearing balls in there, and probably ceramic, I'm gonna guess. I don't know, I have not opened this. I had no reason to disassemble this knife because it was nearly flawless when I got my hands on it. So no need to take this one apart. This one I did work on. I did the anodizing here. It had some wear and tear. It had been used, so I re-anodized the handles just so I can clean this up a little bit for the buyer, whoever that may be. But this one was nearly flawless. There's only one little ding on the frame, which you can barely even see. I doubt I can even catch it on camera. There it is. Okay, so just a little ding right there. Nothing, little shiny spot. Otherwise, this thing is freaking mint. And yeah, I gather these are kind of rare and hard to come by, and worth quite a bit of money. So that's what I'm in these two knives for. And I just wanted to show them off just so you can kind of come on this little knife making appreciation trip with me, because man, this is a beautiful knife. It really is. I find myself wishing I was a Balisong flipper just so I could keep this thing. That's how impressive this knife is. And so other than that, this is going to be a pretty short little video, just something I wanted to show you guys. Sometimes I'll get knives. I find them randomly in pawn shops or whatever, and I'll kind of rescue them. Usually they're in semi-used to rough condition, and I'll rescue them and I'll restore them. I'll do anodizing on them. I'll refinish the blade. I'll do whatever I need to do to make them nice again, and then I usually end up reselling them. But this one's just, this one needed absolutely no work. It's just beautiful. And then there's this one. You know, this took a little bit of work. Did some anodizing here. I didn't refinish this metal because it was good enough. It's not perfect. There are some little flaws that are barely noticeable. But I went ahead and just put a fresh anodizing on it just to make it look good again, and for the next buyer to enjoy it. Now, once these are gone, there is going to be a third balisong coming into my possession sometime, probably within the next week, I'm predicting, hopefully. And came from the same place, and the next balisong is even more impressive than these two. Full custom. This is also a full custom. I believe these are like production or semi-production. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't looked too much into OSP to find out exactly what's behind the maker on these, but I will say that this is a full custom, and the one that I got coming is an Italian-made full custom balisong, and it is freaking impressive. So we'll check that out when it gets here, just to kind of, go through the knife appreciation, genre of videos that I'm gonna do whenever I come across stuff that I won't personally own, but it will pass through my hands for whatever reason. And so yeah, just a couple of badass balisongs, man. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and keep tuning in for the videos. I really appreciate you guys checking out what I like to do. Later.